My name is Adriana and this is my channel, Adriana the Doula. If this is your first time here, welcome. So glad to have you here. So today we're going to talk about the reason why I chose not to certify with the organization that I trained with, Doulas of North America, or DONA for short. Before we get started in this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment at some point. And if you want to get fancy and ring the bell, that will let you know if and when I post, so you can keep up to date with all things, you know, Adriana the Doula. Now, I've seen a couple of these videos going around YouTube and definitely wanted to give my take on it, because in a lot of ways they're similar, but in a lot of ways they're different as well, my reasoning. So I'm going to give you guys 5 reasons why I chose not to certify with the organization that I trained with. So to begin with, just to give you guys a little bit of background, I did my doula training in July of 2018. I was in a class of about 25 doulas, which is a pretty large class. I went into the training, I was very excited. This is something that I really wanted to do, but I was also blind in a lot of ways. Like, there were a lot of things I didn't know about the birth world, and a lot of things I didn't fully understand about what I was getting myself into and the issues that the birth world was dealing with. So I was at the time a biology student and wanted to go into medical school. I ended up changing my major to public health with a focus on maternal health after learning, you know, some of the issues that our healthcare system had. Looking back on it now, it was important that I chose an organization that aligned with my values. So one of the tips I can give you guys is that if you're someone who's looking into becoming a doula, if you're someone who's interested in the birth world, if you're an expectant parent, even if you're not an expectant parent, really be aware of what's going on in the birth world. And especially as Black women, as a Black woman myself, if you're a Black woman as well, it's important to know what the system that you're going up against. And so for me, when I became a doula, it was really important that the work that I did kind of combat the system. So I know that now, but when I went into my doula training, I wasn't really aware of what my philosophy was going to be around birth. So I went in kind of blind. The first thing that I really was a disadvantage, and one of the reasons why I chose not to certify with DONA, was the lack of diversity in their training. So for me, I was in a room of 25 women, and they all did not look like me. They were all primarily white women, women of a certain class and stature, or at least they presented themselves to be that way. A lot of these women were either already in their careers, transitioning into a different career, had just graduated from college, and so we're kind of exploring what that meant. There were a couple of stay-at-home moms. There were 2 that I remember, stay-at-home moms who were doing this training in preparation for their birth. All of these women, besides myself, I felt like were operating in a system from a place of privilege. Myself and the women that I serve don't operate from that same place of privilege. So that's one of the reasons why I chose not to certify with DONA. So the lack of diversity, and I felt like it was a little bit, so in doing my research beforehand with DONA, they pride themselves on being this international organization that's present in a lot of different countries and has, you know, doulas of different backgrounds, and that may be true, but for me it was not reflective of the training that I did, and we kind of clicked. But there was no Black women, like there was no Black women whatsoever. I walked into this room filled with a lot of people who just didn't look like me, and that was really off-putting, because I came into this work to do a kind of to service a specific population of people, and that doesn't mean that my clients all look the same, but it means that when I'm teaching, when I'm educating, when I'm going into certain birth spaces, and as a Black doula going into certain spaces like our healthcare system as it is now, having certain conversations, I bring my experience as a Black woman. I bring the experiences of the births that I've been in. And so to have a space where everyone's experience was super similar and mine was the only one that was super was different was off-putting for me. The second reason why I chose not to certify with Doulas in North America, or DONA, was my instructor. So my instructor, in hindsight, had done this so often that she had kind of automated her teaching. And for some people that might have been really helpful, but for me it was not helpful at all. I needed a personalized experience when it came to training, and she was not able to give that to me and to the class, in my opinion. Although I learned the very basics of what I needed to know to start my practice, I felt as though there wasn't that one-on-one personalized teaching with our relationship with my instructor, because doula work is very personalized, very intimate. You're working with people in a setting that some of them have never been in before, and giving birth, and so you really need to be able to learn how to connect with people. And if you do have that skill already, to be able to deepen those roots and to be able to really get to know someone on a personal, intimate basis in order to learn how to help them best. And so I felt my instructor didn't really give me those tools. I just felt kind of like, all right, sis, this is really impersonal. I can't learn from you because you're very impersonal. You're kind of robotic, honestly. And I felt like maybe, and I feel also because she wasn't someone who could relate to the experiences that I had in terms of interacting with the healthcare system, and she couldn't relate to the people that I would serve, she was coming from a place of privilege, and so she taught from a place of privilege, and a lot of the things she assumed, and a lot of those things are not the case. And so my instructor was another reason why I chose not to certify with DONA. The third reason why I chose not to certify with DONA was the certification process. So I will leave their website below, definitely look into that, but their process is extensive in a lot of ways, but also very, very impersonal in a lot of ways. You don't have a guide. There's not, someone that you can reach out to. There's no home base necessarily. It's really about, okay, these are the 10, 15 steps. Go through these 10 to 15 steps. It's going to cost you $500, and send in this packet to some random person. They'll look over the packet and get it back to you, and you'll get your certification. There was no areas where I felt like there was an interactive reflection, so I couldn't go into a birth and interact and to reflect on that birth with another doula who had been in the field. There was no opportunity for that. It was more like, okay, do this birth, get this sheet signed, this piece of paper, this worksheet signed by someone who was at the birth, and send that into us, and we'll make a decision. And really, it's not really about making a decision. It's more like, okay, if you follow these steps, you'll get your certification. And so that was the third reason why I felt like I didn't feel comfortable certifying with them. It's because the certification process was not one where I felt like I was learning anything. Like, I just felt like I was going through the motions. And so that was my third reason why I didn't want to certify with them. The certification process, in my opinion, was just not conducive to forming doulas who are really well-rounded, in my opinion. Okay, the fourth reason why I felt like I didn't want to certify with DONA was because I felt like a lot of it has to do with money. Like, there was really just like, pay this, pay this, pay this, pay this, and you'll get your certification. And that, for me, that felt really, first off, I was a college student. I was a broke college student. I was a very broke college student. It took me a lot of saving to be able to afford the training itself, which was $500, and then to try and save for certification, which was another $500. So it was $1,000 for training and certification, and then you also had to pay for a membership to DONA, which I don't know if it was a monthly fee or an annual fee. And then you also had to pay for the packet, the certification packet, which I believe was like $75 or $50, something like that. So there's a lot of things that you had to pay for, and I felt like that was unnecessary. I was really just paying someone to look over this packet and make sure that I did it. And it's not like I could talk to that person. It's not like I could reach out to that person. It was just like, okay, like, pay this. And this person, once you pay this person will look at your packet, will tell you that you've done all those things, and get back to you about that. That was the fourth reason why I felt like I didn't want to certify with them, because the amount of money that it costs to certify with them, and the endless fees. Okay, so the fifth reason why I chose not to not to certify with DONA was because I felt as though I was paying for a membership to a club, and this club was privileged white women who practice in a certain way, and their mission statement, their values, all of those things kind of aligned with the way that they practice. And for me, as a Black woman, as a woman who serves predominantly women of color, as a woman who serves women who are at risk, who do not have the means a lot of the time to pay for a doula, I felt, and are socioeconomically challenged, who are facing challenges, a lot of different challenges, this particular organization was not able to teach me in any way to interact with these women and to be beneficial to these women. And so a lot of their missions and values and their scope of practice were tailored to, were coming from a place of privilege, in my opinion. And there are things in their mission, but in their scope of practice and their mission, of course, that I agree with, and as a doula are kind of hallmarks of our practice. But when we're talking about coming up against a system that is flawed in a lot of ways, and women are dying in this system, it was important for me to have an organization, or to certify with an organization that I felt like backed me up in a lot of ways. And this organization would not be able to do that. I just want to reiterate and just say a disclaimer, I guess. I took my training in July 2018. As of right now, we're in May 2020. So there might have been things that changed about this organization. I would definitely encourage you to look into the organization if you feel like maybe your experience was different, or you feel like it's a good organization for you. I don't feel like you should base your opinion on someone else's, but take what I'm saying into consideration, basically. I think that if you are going to be looking into an organization to train with, an organization to support you in becoming a doula, look for things, find an organization that matches up with your core values. First you have to have a set of core values as a doula, a way that you want to practice, and then find an organization that fits best your core values. And so that's ultimately the best piece of advice that I could give any doula that's going into this world, or any doula in training, a person who wants to become a doula, is find an organization that aligns with your core value. DONA just didn't do that for me, but DONA may do that for you. So I wouldn't discourage you from certifying with them. I would just say that you need to make the decision for yourself, and you need to make that decision with all the knowledge at hand. So you need to really look into those things before you decide to do a training with them, before you decide to certify with them. Yeah, that's really it for today. Those are my 5 reasons. If you got to the end of this video, thank you so much. I really hope that this was helpful. Once again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment below to stay up to date with all the things your girl is doing. This is the end of the video. Unfortunately, I'll see you guys next week. I hope that you guys are feeling empowered in your body, empowered with your baby, and empowered in your birthing experiences. Okay,